Yes, my people, welcome back to AFTV. Now listen, I thought I'd do an update video on a player who I've taken a great liking to, a player who scored twice for their country in the under-23s, and a player who came on last season in Europa League, scored within 40 seconds, and also a fellow striker, Florin Balogun. Now, I'm going to be honest, I'll put my hands up and say, he's currently on loan obviously at Middlesbrough. I'm going to put my hands up and say, I don't watch Middlesbrough week in, week out. But to have someone who does. I have a devoted fan with me today and also a sports author and writer for Talksport. He goes by the name of Phil Spencer. How are you, Phil? Hello, you well?
Yeah, very well, thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Listen, I'm happy that you're here, and obviously we're going to talk about Balogun. Like I said in that beginning there, I've been a fan of him. I'm a fellow striker. I know there's been a lot of talk of whether he can be integrated back into Arsenal. Obviously, Arsenal currently needs some more firepower up front. We've got the likes of Lacazette, Eddie and Nketiah, but going into the end of the season when he returns, will he be someone who features in Arsenal's first team? Now, I'll hopefully get some information from you. Let's start with how has he been doing in your sense as a Middlesbrough fan? How has he been doing from your front?
Mm-hmm. He's been doing all right, to be honest. I think since he came in from January, it's I think the player that you see now compared to the one who came in January is a completely different player. He came in and obviously a kid with a lot of talent. Everyone knew the amount of goals that he scored at under 23 level for Arsenal. So everyone knew the talent that we were getting. But I think what you saw was that the player who arrived was very much a boy, whereas what you're seeing now is someone who has very much developed into a man, to use that kind of cliche. I think it's been a bit of a baptism of fire for him coming into the Championship. It's completely different, as there's lots of reports about Balogun in the last couple of weeks saying that, obviously he's found it difficult stepping up to the professional level, playing in the Championship. It's a completely different pressure to playing against academy kids who there's not really that kind of competitive edge in the matches. So he's had to learn quite sharply, really. Coming in under Chris Wilder. Everyone knows what Chris Wilder's like from his time with Sheffield United in the Premier League. He's a no-nonsense manager. It'll take nothing less than 100% from a player when they're playing on a Saturday. And I think Balogun, the first few weeks, it was kind of a case of getting up to speed within Middlesbrough and in the Championship. But since then, we've kind of slowly started seeing the best of him. And that's what's happened in the last couple of weeks with Middlesbrough, but also the England under-21s, as you mentioned. Yeah,
let me kind of press you on how Middlesbrough were kind of before he arrived. Were they in need of a striker? Were they needing someone like Balogun, or was the team still doing quite well week in, week out?
Middlesbrough were doing reasonably well. I think under Chris Wilder, we've seen definite improvements since he took over from Neil Warnock. We've always, since Chris Wilder took over, we've kind of been there or thereabouts in terms of the playoffs, but we were just kind of missing that player to really put the ball in the back of the net on a consistent basis. I think that was the main reason why we came after Balogun, because like we said before, his striking record for the under-23s was second to none. And if he could replicate that form in any sense in the Championship, he was going to be a great signing for Middlesbrough. Now, in the last couple of months, you could probably say that Middlesbrough have still been lacking that proper out-and-out goal scorer. But what we are starting to see in the last couple of weeks is Balogun starting to find his form, starting to find his scoring boots. And the hope is that going between now and the end of the season, he'll be able to be the person who can fire us to promotion. Yeah,
fingers crossed, that'd be great for him as well and his career. Now, just talking about that, there was a quote that you spoke about him from becoming a boy when he first arrived and turned into a man. And there was a quote he recently did speak with the press and said that getting week in, week out football against men and playing first team football has really benefited his play. So that is very interesting you say that, because I think he has progressed the more he's played for Middlesbrough. I want to ask you this. Now, I've been a player in my previous careers before this here at AFTV, and I've played at under 23s level at a higher club and gone on loan to, I don't want to disrespect Middlesbrough, but obviously a lower league club than what Arsenal are. Now, when Balogun came, could you sense that he was coming from a big club like Arsenal, or did he seem like he just fit straight into a Middlesbrough side? Is the level quite high there? Because sometimes when, like I said, a player coming from a higher level club, you can kind of sense that they've come from that higher level club. Or has it been quite, he came in, he thought, no, he's just fitted in perfectly fine, there's not really much difference. This might be kind of his level, is kind of where the question's kind of leaning to.
I think you could tell that he's come from a club at a higher level like Arsenal. He came in and it's not a case that he came in with any airs or graces, but he kind of came in with the confidence and the swagger of someone who's been told that he's brilliant, like over and over again. Obviously, he's banging them in for fun at under 18 level and under 23 level. And so rightly so, he deserves the plaudits. But as we were kind of saying, I think playing in the Championship's a completely different kettle of fish. Yeah. So some players can kind of adapt to it quite easily. Others find it a little bit more difficult. And I think on the whole, Balogun's done quite well with it. By the sounds of things, he's got his head down behind the scenes. He hasn't come in with any arrogance or I should be playing in the starting lineup because I've come from Arsenal. Nothing like that. He's just come in, got his head down, worked hard. There's been nothing but positive words from Chris Wilder about his attitude behind the scenes. And he's slowly starting to reap the rewards in the last few weeks.
Yeah, do you see another gear maybe coming from Florin Balogun? Do you think he can go to another level? Or do you think, this is kind of where he's at with Middlesbrough? Do you think there's more to his game than just goal scoring? Because like you said, Championship's a hard league to play in. It's very physical, it's very fast paced. I think you get more opportunities to have mistakes. But do you think there's more from Balogun that can come? Because he's obviously progressed from when he first joined you guys to where he is now.
Definitely. I think... I think the slight frustration from Middlesbrough fans is that we're just starting to see the best of him now. Obviously, there's 9 games left in the Championship on the basis that we weren't playing in the playoffs or anything like that. So I think if Middlesbrough fans can see the best of him between now and the end of the season, that would be perfect. In an ideal world, you would have wanted it straight away from the end of January. But I think the way that I see Balogun is it's been a really good couple of months for him stepping up to Championship level. There's no doubt that he's a player who's going to be a Premier League player in the future, whether it's with Arsenal or someone else.
Oh, seriously? Do you believe that then? Yeah. So you think like he can make it into Premier League? Because we've seen him play against some Premier League sides for you guys, and in my personal opinion, I felt like he did struggle against some of those sides like the Uniteds and the Chelseas, But you can see that. Do you think long-term wise, if he has more of these loans or more time with you guys, you can see him definitely being in that Premier League and feeling comfortable?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's just about baby steps really with someone like Balogun. I think, yeah, to kind of suggest that he'd be going straight into say the Arsenal first team next season, it's probably a little bit of a push considering you're going to be pushing for the Champions League, and I guess for you guys hopefully in the Champions League as well. But I think for Middlesbrough, the hope is that if he can get a few goals between now and the end of the season, he might be someone who Middlesbrough can go back in the summer and say, look, we've taken him this far up until the summer. Could he come back for the next season? And then next season, after he's adapted to the Championship, he could be the player to score 25, 30 goals at that level. That might be the kind of progression he needs. He might need a full season in the Championship before going, do you know what, I'm ready to step up to the Premier League. And then, maybe breaking into the Arsenal team or another loan move to a team in the bottom half of the Premier League. But I think he's definitely moving in the right direction. And I think the progress that he's made so far should be encouraging for Arsenal fans. Yeah,
no, it's good to hear from you, Phil. I appreciate that knowledge and insight from you. I'm trying to think. You said if he gets 25, 30 goals on loan from you next season, potentially, I'll be screaming for him to come back. I'll be like, I want him back, and that's what I think many fans were screaming for Balogun to feature, especially when we were quite light up front, as a lot of the Arsenal base was saying, a lot of Arsenal fan base was saying, listen, let's use Balogun. But I think the loan really did help because he did start against Brentford in the first game of the season. I felt like he felt lost in that game. So I feel like the loan was perfect for him, even though it was at a time in January where, Arsenal needed a striker and we kind of sent him out on loan and we didn't sign anyone in that window. I think beneficial wise and what Arteta's doing with sending players out on loan, I think has actually worked. So I think it was the right decision. Now, you kind of touched on a question that I was going to lead to, but you kind of spoke about it there about maybe bringing him back to Middlesbrough at the end of this loan. With what you've seen so far, I know he's got 2 goals and 2 assists for you guys, and I think obviously you probably want him to hit a bit more than that by the end of the season. But would you consider Balogun as a benefits signing on another loan for you guys by the end of the season?
Yeah, I do. I do think that it would be a good move for Middlesbrough. I think it would be a good move for Balogun, but I think it would be a good move for Arsenal as well. I think for someone like him, I think it's probably a step too far to suggest that he'd be ready to step into Arsenal's attack next season. I know what you're saying about Lacazette and Nketiah being out of contract. So I guess worst case scenario for you guys, both of them move on. And it's a case of going into the transfer market to try and bring someone in. It's probably too much pressure to put on someone like Balogun, but if he can kind of continue that development, play in the Championship again next season. He's kind of starting to adapt to it now. He's starting to get the goals. Although it's 2 goals that he scored for Middlesbrough, that's 2 in his last 3 games. I think it is for Middlesbrough. Not to mention the 3 on while he was away on international duty. So I think if he can continue to do that between now and the end of the season, he is someone who Middlesbrough would want to bring back next season, whether that's in the Championship or whether that's hopefully in the bottom end of the Premier League next season. He's definitely someone that we'd like to bring back because we've seen some really good stuff from him so far.
Okay, is there anything that because obviously I don't watch him week in, week out, is there anything I kind of missed from his style of play? Because I know him as, like you said there, a natural goal scorer for me. He scored some amazing goals for the under-23s at Arsenal, and his record is he's played 11 matches and scored 13 goals for them. He's superb finisher. But is there anything else that you might have seen? I know we're focusing heavily on his gameplay, but anything that you might have seen, like if it's strength, hold-up play, coming in from the left or the right, or is he more just a straight number 9? Is there anything that you really liked from him that we may have missed? Maybe skillful feet, any of that stuff?
Yeah, he's definitely got the technical skills to be more than just an out-and-out poacher.
Yeah.
He's got ability on the ball. He can take on a player, and he's got a nice burst of pace about him as well as having a bit of strength. I think one of the main things that he's improved on since he's moved to Middlesbrough is, put simply, he's stopped trying as hard, if you understand what I mean. He was a player who, when he first came in, he was
hungry to
he was almost too keen to make an impression. He was kind of dropping deep into midfield to try and pick up the ball. He was trying to take on his man a little bit too often. And I think that's probably something that's come from experience playing in the Championship. If you try to do something which really isn't that just isn't on as an option, you're going to lose the ball, and then you're going to get pelters from your defence and midfield who have to clear up after you.
Yeah.
So I think for someone like him, it's just been that experience really of just kind of simplifying his game. And I think the main word is kind of efficiency in the way that he uses the ball. He's not taking as many touches on the ball.
Yeah.
He's making sure that he's using his energy in the right areas as well. And I think that's where he's really starting to become a massive threat, rather than, like I said before, using his energy to drop out of position and then being too knackered to get into the penalty box when the time comes.
Yeah, Phil, do you know what? That's actually very reassuring to hear you say that, because I think in that first game we played against Brentford, that was what I saw, was when he first kind of came to you guys, and I'm assuming being very, not excited, but, not making the right decisions on the ball, trying to prove himself and impress. And I think that's kind of what we're both saying that you saw when he first came and what we saw in the Brentford game. But I think he needed a run of games, and what you've said, he's improved over the time being at Middlesbrough. And I think that run of games has definitely helped him, and it will continue to help him push on in his development. Now, I know at Arsenal, I don't think you'll get that amount of time. So to have a load of run of games at Arsenal Football Club in the first team is a lot of pressure. So I think the loans definitely will benefit him, and I'm glad you're giving us an update. And I think even potentially, as much as I want to see him in the Arsenal shirt and being a focal point for our attack, I think another loan, or maybe we'll see how he ends this season, but I think another loan may benefit him as well, depending on who we bring in the summer, because Arsenal may do no business or very little business, so we may need Balogun back to fill those striking boots. I'm going to quickly ask you to finish up as well. Middlesbrough having a very good campaign at the moment in the Championship. Do you believe they can push on and be in the Premiership next season?
Oh, it's a tough one. We're doing really well at the moment. I think under Chris Wilder, we've just been a completely different outfit to what we were under Neil Warnock. I got pelters on Twitter earlier in the season when I was saying that we were a mid-table team at best. We certainly looked like it under Neil Warnock, but then I think what we've seen since Chris Wilder's come in is so many of our players have just taken their game onto a new level. He's just kind of given them the freedom to really express themselves going forward.
Yeah.
And so what we see now is a team who are certainly, I think, among the top 6 teams in the Championship. It's really competitive up there, as it always is at the top end of the Championship. And I think for Middlesbrough, it's just going to be a case of getting into the top 6 and seeing where we go from there. I don't think there's any expectations on Middlesbrough to go up this season. I think with Wilder coming in, I think it was all very much geared towards next season and hopefully mounting a proper promotion push next season. Yeah. But if we can do it this season and skip a year of torture in the Championship, then I don't think anyone will be complaining too much.
Well, listen, Phil, thank you very much anyway for joining me as well. And guys, you can check out Phil at Phil Spencer 23 on his socials, and I'll also in the link in the description we'll write down his socials so you can check him out. But thank you very much, Phil, for joining us today and giving us an update on Balogun. And seems like he's doing very well. Obviously, he's scoring club and country now. So it's looking like things are just turning in the right direction. And, you know, he's been a good focal point for you guys. And hopefully we'll see him one day in an Arsenal shirt being our main striker. But thank you very much again for the update. And thank you everyone for watching this AFTV video. Don't forget to like and subscribe and let us know your thoughts on Balogun. Would you want him back? Do you want him back? Or do you think he needs more time to develop on loan? Let us know in the comments below. Take care.
Shop for AFTV merch at shop.aftv.co.uk. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, Snapchat and Twitch. We've got content for every platform, so check it out.